So we are back with another Do Not Buy. This one is for Evil West. And to anyone that has recommended this game, given it a 7, 8, 9 or whatever, they are out of their mind. This has got to be the worst co-op experience I have had in a very, very long time. If you are into your lore, and I mean lore, there is a lot of it in this game, then it might be a game for you. But at £50, definitely not. I bought this game on Xbox. I invited Pete to come and play it with me because we game share. All I can say is bullet sponge, repetitive, rubbish. That's all this game is to a T. You start off, you need to do a tutorial, then you're able to, after the first level, you're able to invite your friend in to do co-op. When you play co-op, this game is terrible. There are missing actions, most of the actions are actually missing for your co-op partner. And I don't even think there's a lot I can say about this game. I've played for about 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours with Pete, and that was almost non-stop. And I think it was about 2 hours, maybe 2 and a bit hours into the game. You get a weapon called the boomstick, this little shotgun, and I said to Pete, I want to get my boomstick out of my pocket and blow my own head off. The game is so boring. Cinematic after cinematic, lore after lore. Everything is the same for you and your co-op partner. So you go round, you find this little alleyway sort of thing, you find this bag with money in, you both get $68. Everything is exactly the same. When you come to these areas where you have to punch these barricades, your co-op partner cannot do it. You have to do it. And then there are lots of areas where you have to squeeze through tight gaps and things like that, and you are forced to wait for your co-op partner to be pretty much holding your dick so that you can fucking go through these tiny little gaps and stuff. This game is horrible. We are halfway into the game. We've completed 8 missions. There are a total of 16. They are estimating it will take 10 to 15 hours to complete this game, and in about 3, maybe 3.5 hours, we are halfway through. I don't think the second half of the game is going to be much longer. Granted, we are playing on story difficulty, we are rushing through, skipping the cinematics and things like that, so if you're in there for a full-on, deep sort of experience with it, it might take you to 10 to 15 hours, but there is no point. It gets to a certain stage, I think about 4 or 5 missions in, and you realise that there is nothing to this game. The enemies are all the fucking same. There are areas where you have lots of little spiders walking around, and it says there's an arachnophobia warning. If you don't like spiders, there's a setting to turn it off, and that is a great thing. I appreciate that because I'm not a fan of spiders, but I never turned it off. I was expecting to see this giant spider come out of nowhere and we have to fight it, but no, you don't get any of that. And then when it comes to actual main bosses, we encountered one, and it was on mission number 7. But the thing is, there are so many bugs and there's so much lag for your co-op partner. I'll put some clips on screen now of how Pete was experiencing this game as the co-op partner, so for the player that's not the host. But not only that, altogether in the game there are horrible features. Every fucking enemy is a bullet sponge, but when it comes to the big main boss, we got it down to maybe about a quarter of its health, and it just died. We didn't even get to finish the fight properly. The boss just gave up. You are constantly being taken back to this hub sort of area where you have to go into this lab and talk to this woman. Then you randomly get teleported to all these different mission locations. It feels like the game wanted to be something similar to Remnant from the Ashes, but it failed massively. I really, really did not get on with this. I feel as though I wasted not only money, but I wasted time. If I was to personally put my own price tag on this game, I'm going to say £15 at a push. And that's to play it in co-op. So if you're buying the game separately and there's 2 of you, £7.50 each. I don't think this game's worth any more than that. There are so many issues. The level design is fucking horrible. It's all just the same stuff over and over and over and over again. For something that's probably taken a couple of years to develop, or however long it's taken them, I can't believe there's not a lot more difference in the enemies and stuff. There are different weapons and gadgets and things like that, and some of them can be cool, but after about 30 seconds using them, you are bored. And it's a very quick, you go from, oh, this is cool, to, oh, fucking hell, do I have to use this again? It goes from 0 to 100 with the level of boredom in the matter of seconds. And the thing that annoys me probably the most is the fact that I've actually not just wasted my own time and money, I've wasted my friend's time. because an experience on a video game is always going to be better with your friends, but it still wasn't that fun. And it wasn't just that boss that ended up dying with a quarter of its health left. There were parts in the game where we had lots and lots of enemies left and it would just jump into a cinematic. The game doesn't even know what it's doing. And then there were areas where we got stuck in the ground. There's lots and lots and lots of invisible walls and everything scattered all around the game. But not only that, when you have like tiny little like ledges, we'll say they're like 2 foot tall. You can clearly see over them. You can see enemies. The enemies are always fucking protected. They've got this like bubble shield around them. You physically cannot attack enemies until you are in the same area, this stupid arena with them. And not only that, it's probably okay if you get a couple of issues here and there. That's acceptable. But you've got things like Pete not being able to heal properly. Pete not actually having his gun out when he's shooting. But not only that, if a tooltip pops up on your screen, it keeps you playing in the game, so it's like on your screen, and you can still be hit, you can still go down, and it chucks them up at the most inconvenient times. It wouldn't be a problem if it did it in a safe area, but it does it where the enemies are, and it does it when they're attacking you. There are so many things wrong with the partner's perspective of the game when you're playing co-op. But not only that, like, basically you can't punch through barricades, and there's certain things you can't do as the co-op partner. But even when you are able to do things, so say I'm going to go through this tight gap in between 2 walls, Pete's going to follow up behind, it'll just start lagging him into them. And the lag gets really, really bad. But not only that, when you're in areas that have like, say 5, 6 plus enemies, it's really, really laggy for the co-op partner. It feels as though they haven't tested co-op gameplay for this whatsoever. And then the structure of the game, because we've got bad level design, bad enemies, bullet sponges, all the same shit over and over again. When we first got into the arena with this, I'm going to say it's like this demon sort of thing, and it's got wings and stuff, I thought, well, fucking hell, this is quite cool. It feels like a boss fight. And then you fight another 2 of them before you're halfway through the game. Or maybe even 3 of them, I can't remember exactly, but it's the same enemies over and over again. But then with the level design, the enemies and all that sort of stuff, every single fucking section, you are fighting enemies, you know when they are coming, because the developers have sat there and just gone Control-C, Control-V, Control-C, Control-V. Every time you come across enemies, it's a fucking arena. I even said to Pete, this feels like it wants to be the Bloody Ties DLC from Dying Light 2. The only thing is, like, I didn't like Bloody Ties. I think it's a really bad DLC for Dying Light 2. But at least that come into the game as DLC. They're not trying to charge £50 for that separately, because that's basically what Evil West is. It's just a very linear forced progression game that's filled with arenas, with bullet sponge enemies, shitty co-op experience. It's a terrible game that is not worth your money. I honestly would not pick this game up at all. It is not worth 50 quid. Absolutely no chance is this worth £50. It's one of the worst co-op experiences I've had in a very, very long time. Issue after issue, it's all boring, bland. The level design is shocking. I mean, some of the areas in terms of how they look are okay. When you start the game, you're possibly going to get headaches from how bright it is when you've got this just solid red colour palette with fire and stuff burning. There was actually a part of it where I started to, like, my eyes started to hurt. I've got something called astigmatisms. My eyes aren't shaped round, so I have to wear glasses. And it started to hurt my eyes, where everything is just so bright. And then you get these areas where they're far too dark and you can't see anything. And I think it was on Mission 8, we had this puzzle where we had to move these massive blocks. And it was like the only puzzle in the game. The rest of it is interaction, cinematics, and fucking loading. And lore. The amount of lore in this game. It feels like I'm playing... Like, I'm not even playing, I'm reading a fucking book. I bought a video game. I don't care for that much lore. One thing that absolutely baffles me with this as well is the developers that made this, Flying Wild Hog, they created the Shadow Warrior series, 1, 2, and 3. They released Space Punks, which I thought was quite a good game. And then they've gone and made this. I think they put far too much time into the lore and the cinematics and stuff, and nowhere near as much time as what they needed to in the actual gameplay loop, especially for the co-op experience. A waste of time, a waste of money. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. Check out this video if you want to see other content on the channel. I will see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.